Hey, Mystic Michaela, spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. So much on tap to talk about today. I'm going to be talking about Britney Spears and Cardi B and Marilyn Monroe and their pink auras and what they have in common. I'm going to be talking about the voices in your head. How do you separate your thoughts from your ego, from your spirit guides' messages? That's kind of hard to do. I'm going to be telling you exactly how to do that. But first, we are recording from my parents' haunted basement for reals. Hey, Scotty, how'd we get here?
Hey, guys. Yes, this is fairly scary and a little bit nasty. It's kind of like the Neil Young song, Lying in a Burnt-Out Basement. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
There's spider webs everywhere.
It looks like a basement.
Yeah, but it's like a little bit like even worse than the normal basement, I think.
Okay, yeah.
But, I'm a little scared taping down here because it is haunted.
It is.
Your parents have told us of hauntings down here.
Yeah.
We as everybody knows, we do have a podcast, Ghost.
We do. This is not him, though.
No, this is not him. I feel that our podcast, Ghost, who we picked up at the Riddle House in our first Halloween special, I feel he's jealous.
Okay.
So I feel his energy right now.
So there's like a little drama.
There's a little drama going on between the person that's haunting this basement,
right,
and our podcast, Ghost.
Yeah.
So I think now, unfortunately, I think someone passed down here, right?
So no, what happened was the previous owner's son, he took his own life, unfortunately. And out of respect for that family, I'm not going to say his name. I do know his name. I'm not going to say his name because the family's still alive. But, and he just, you know what it is? He lives down here. It's not, and I think what you have to understand is it's not purgatory or it's not limbo or it's not sad. It's just kind of like a choice. And he lived down here in his life. He was happy down here, in the basement. It was like kind of a cozy shelter for him from the world, and he does hang out down here now. I've had experiences. I can see him in my mind's eye. I can feel him. He's very chill. He's a very just kind of normal, quiet kind of dude. My sister, who actually sees dead people physically, has seen him and been touched by him. My parents have had experiences with him. My mom says that he does all sorts of things in the house. So,
like what?
He turns on and off lights. We have to get her to talk about it.
Okay.
Maybe next episode. Because he is an active member of the house, basically.
Now, I am right now terrified to turn around. Is he over my shoulder?
He's not that. You know what? Even when you say that, I just get this feeling like he would like please.
Really?
He's not. You're stereotyping him.
Okay.
He's just a very normal person who just liked it in his life down here and is choosing to find comfort down here for the time being. I read so many people and they have an energy in the house with them and they know it, and it's not malevolent. It's fine. It's just kind of like a roommate.
Now, the other thing that I keep coming back to and I can't get out of my head is that Neil Young song. I forgot the name of it, but it goes lying in a burnt down basement. I forget,
That's weird because you never mentioned that before.
No, I never sing that song.
Yeah.
But and I don't know if you'd be able to get this. Did he like to do like marijuana?
Majorly recreationally, yes,
okay.
Down here.
Because
but you can smell it sometimes down here.
Really? I'm picking up that. That's what I'm getting.
That's weird.
A vibe.
Yeah. No, he was into that, which is whatever. That's what he was into.
Oh my god!
And it wasn't that many years ago either. So
okay, because I definitely feel that. Now we do also have our favorite podcast guest with us today, Breanna.
Hi.
Bree, you are very sensitive to these kind of things. Do you feel this person in the basement, this energy, or no?
I feel kinda. I mean, there's like creaking sounds, and I'm a little nervous, but I can kind of sense it. I feel like he doesn't mean any harm.
Okay, so he's just kind of a stoner.
Sure.
You get the same vibe that...
I don't think they use... What words do you guys use now?
Stoner.
The stoner's still the word. Okay.
So I'm still with the lingo. Yeah, I hear a lot of creaking, too.
Yeah.
Now, it's an old house, so it could be also people walking, but it also could be this guy that haunts this place.
Yeah.
So...
Well, maybe he'll make himself known for the podcast.
Maybe he will.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so we'll see if anyone picks up anything while they're listening to this. Okay, so how did we get here?
How did we get here, Scott?
All right, so we're in this basement right now recording. Much different than our usual spot in the living room with our our old textbooks and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're in
setup.
Buffalo. We're visiting your family. We drove 2 days to get here. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to take a plane.
No.
Especially Abby and myself and Bree. I think you were okay
I
with
would have
taking
done
a plane.
the plane.
I
Yeah.
don't want to plane.
No, you don't like the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are. We road tripped it, and the road trip was, it had its moments.
It's good. I thought it was pretty uneventful.
Yeah, it was uneventful except for one incident.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
the first day we were driving. Florida is flat as a pancake.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go like 5-6 hours, but it goes quick because it's like 75 the whole way.
Yeah.
There's no stopping.
No frills.
So that went well. We got into Georgia, and then like the middle of Georgia, I felt like this thing go into my eye.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's something in my eye.
Yeah.
And you start swerving a bit.
Yeah, I almost
That was
hit
a
a car.
That was
but-
a little scary.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I almost hit
Okay,
somebody,
yeah.
But anyway, but then I didn't even think about it. So I something went in my eye. I don't know if I got bit. It was
Oh my God.
a towel. I have no idea what it
Right.
was. I don't know.
But and
Okay.
it was your left eye. So it wasn't
Yeah.
the eye next to me in the car. It was like on the other side. So I didn't see it.
right.
Right. Until.
And, yeah. And I did after it. I did feel a little sleepy, and my eye did close a few times. I didn't want to tell you guys while we were
Great.
driving. My other eye closed as well for a moment, and The car actually came on. Do you need a coffee break? It told me. But anyway, so that was fine. We got to the hotel, and then you looked at my eye.
So then we stop, and if you've ever seen that scene in Something About Mary where the guy has like a sty in his eye, and then it's just like huge. It's like, whoa, you got something in your eye. Like that's what it was like. You're like, what? Like what? And it was all very big and puffy, and it was like really uncomfortable to look at. And we didn't. You're very sensitive to faces and like people who get alarmed. So like the three of us were like, whoa. We were really like disturbed looking at it, but then you were like, what? We don't know what happened
Is
to you.
this true, Breanna?
It was huge. It was like puffy and swollen and nasty.
All right, whatever.
We felt terrible for you.
well. It still felt okay.
Yeah, but you were fine. Like you felt okay.
Yeah, I
But, like,
felt
are you
fine.
sure you feel okay? Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big. All right. So fine. I was like, whatever. I can live with it. Nothing hurts. It'll probably go down. Very soon. So the big decision was, what do we do for dinner?
Yeah. So we stop at the hotel. We check in. Everyone's it's that time of the day. Everyone's hungry and had it at the
Right.
same time. Hangry.
Right. We're in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
And you gotta love the South.
Yeah, and if Orangeburg, South Carolina was a color, I don't know that it'd be orange. What
it
would
be?
you? I don't know. What would you say
Honestly,
it'd be like?
I don't know. Like, everyone was really nice. It's just they were really slow.
Really slow,
Like
a
really
slow
slow.
nice?
Like I felt like I was, but sometimes when you move through, we live in South Florida, but it's really not the South. Like they say,
Right.
you got to go north to be South, like in
Correct.
Florida. And so sometimes when you drive through the South, and God bless y'all that live there, it's it's just a different mindset. And so you wait a lot for things to happen, and maybe we're impatient. So they sat us down at the restaurant.
Yeah, so we get down to we're at the
Finally.
restaurant.
Yeah.
And Bree, could you explain like what the vibe was?
Let's just say it was dirty and not good and nasty, and you don't want to be there.
It was a chain restaurant.
It was a chain.
It was just, and the kids aren't vaccinated, and we are.
Right.
And so there's still kind of like this inside dining phobia we have, but there's nowhere else to eat.
Right.
And we walk in, and like Bree's like you, so she's like no, and she doesn't care. She's like no, and then you're kind of like there's nowhere else to eat, so you're getting like your eyes all puffy. So I'm dealing with like two people that are both like opposite nose. Like you're like we're eating here, and she's like we're not eating here, and Abby and I are just like I don't even know.
Yeah. So I mean they sat us in this like kind of smaller booth.
By everybody.
The table was like disgusting. It
was dirty.
Bree was right. It was dirty.
And we're not picky. It
No.
was dirty.
The menu
didn't
was
clean it.
the menu still stuck to my hand.
It was sticky.
Okay, it's still stuck there.
Everything was
I can't
sticky.
get it off. Okay, we go into a booth, and like I don't know if anyone hates this, but the person in the other booth he had a very long arm, and he was a taller man, and he had his like arm on the top of the booth. You ever
Yes.
have that? We're sitting in a restaurant, and like you're in the booth, and they're in the booth,
Yeah.
and that hand is like just hanging off the end,
His
right by
elbow
your head.
was like
yeah.
you guys had to duck.
Yeah.
Me and Abby took the not that side,
Yeah.
and then
You
you
guys
and
got
Bree had to
lucky.
like duck under that guy's elbow.
Yeah, and me and Bree are like making a lot of noise, trying to get him to move. I'm pushing on the booth a little, just trying to like. get the hand down, but he's not taking the hand, and the hand's still there.
Yeah.
It's like hanging, like his fingernails, like in my ear almost.
Yeah.
Really disgusting.
It's like he's making a stand too. He's like, I'm not moving my arm. And
thank
you're
God
like,
Thank God they got the
left,
check
though.
and they left. Yeah, so like I was like, all right, so maybe I'll get a little
but
bit
we still
better.
haven't gotten any waters or
No, we didn't get any service.
Nothing, which is fine. It's just it was. There was like a herd of flies. What do you call a bunch of flies?
Oh, it was bad. They were like swarming around us.
Okay.
There was like a colony of just
No, and here's the
flies.
thing. I can tell everybody's miserable. So I'm starting to really sweat. My eye is actually getting much worse. It's like starting to swell shut.
your eyes weeping.
It's like I can't even see out of it anymore. The eye continuously gets worse. And here, I'm a red. And I have my whole family. We're X amount of miles away from our home. I'm a red. I'm protective. I want to make sure things go well for everyone. And I can tell everybody is just miserable. Bree is miserable. Abby is miserable. Abby's like, I want to go. You were putting on a good face.
I'm
I
like,
have
you
to
know
say,
what? It's one meal. Let's just all get chicken fingers and move on, people.
Right. But
Like, let's get chicken fingers and just move on.
But I knew you were fake smiling at me.
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
That was a fake smile.
As this continues, I'm dripping sweat, like totally dripping, like just running down my cheeks.
And then, keep going though.
Yeah, no, so, I don't know what to do. So I keep saying, all right, let's just go. Come on, let's go. Let's just leave. Let's leave. Did you get bit by a spider?
There's like a spider web attacking me like right
There
now.
is?
Yeah.
It's okay. No, you're
No,
okay. It's
you're-
not on your side.
Yeah, we
You're
can't
okay.
make this up,
Sorry,
people.
guys.
There's spiders
we
crawling
are
on us.
filming in a basement.
Yeah.
But continue.
Okay,
I'm
but
sorry.
anyway, so, I know everybody wants to go. I want to go myself, and I'm just like, let's just go. But, and whatever. So it's kind of a weird situation when you sit down, you have the menus, nobody wanted to leave.
But they didn't even notice.
But they didn't notice, so at the end of the
We
day,
got up and left, and
we just walked out.
And we did find a Chick-fil-A.
And we found a Chick-fil-A.
So life worked out. But you know what was interesting? Back at the hotel, you're like, is that what an empath feels like, Megan? That's what you asked me. Like, is
I did.
that what it feels like? And I'm like, yeah, it does. That's what it feels like. But you were getting mad at us for not wanting to be there, which you would get mad at me when I would get mad at you for having feelings, if you recall.
Right.
I remember that?
Yeah.
Like, you used to get mad at me when I used to get upset that you had feelings because it affected me. That
Right.
was kind of like the interesting
Well,
part.
it all broke down at that point.
Yeah.
And, I was starting to feel my victim blue come out.
Oh.
And then you felt, with my eye closing, that you
Poor
needed to take care of me.
I had to take care of you.
Okay, so you start, manscaping me. And we go into the bathroom, and you're, fixing my eye first. And you're like, oh, wait. Then you start, looking around me. Let me do a check on you. And, you're like, oh, let me get your eyebrows. So you start tweaking my eyebrows, whatever thing you do. And then you're looking at my ears, and you're like, oh, let me get those couple ear hairs. And you
You're
start
being
zizzing
very
around.
honest.
Yeah, I will be. And, then you say, well, are you hydrated? And I said, yeah, I think I had some water today. And then you go, can I smell your breath? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll let you smell my breath. Why not? And so I breathe. And then you make kind of a face, and you kind of walk out of the bathroom. And I'm like, what? Like, what was that? What was that? And then I go and find you, and you're like, nothing. Just, I'm like, well, do you want to finish? You still got, what else do I have to do? And she's like, and you're like, nothing. And then I'm like, well, all right, just tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. And I can tell you what she told me next, or I can allow you to both. Do you want to do it, or I'll do it?
Go ahead, Britt.
Mama, Mystic Michaela told me
that your breath smells like pee.
yes.
Listen,
She
okay,
told me my breath smells like pee.
I need the nurses to weigh in because this is what happened all day. All I saw you drink was coffee, like gas station coffee, from
I had
place
two
to place to
waters.
place. Okay, but what?
Okay.
Anyways, what I witnessed was coffee all day and nothing else. And you were driving a lot. Your eye was completely swollen. You looked like ashen to me. And I sat you down, and I realized, okay, I got to pay attention to him like I would one of the kids. And I noticed that your breath smelled like, even after you brushed your teeth, like urine. And I'm like, what the hell is that? That can't be good. And so I Googled it, and it said it could be like a kidney dysfunction or something.
Right.
Or I don't even know what. So I was like, oh my God, are you hydrating? Are you okay? And then you got mad at me. Well, you're like, well, why do you keep asking me all these questions? And I'm like, listen, your breath smells like urine. And then you got really mad at me, which I understand. If somebody told me I smelled like pee, I'd be very upset too. I'd be sad and hurt and all that. So I feel really bad.
It's okay.
But then you hydrated a lot more, and you don't smell like that anymore.
Well, I did a lot of oral hygiene care. I did like flossing, and I did the mouthwash, and I brushed
then you told me you don't
my
brush your tongue.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I started
Anyway.
brushing my tongue. Yeah, I was really brushing my tongue.
You gotta brush your tongue, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I even took I did actually. I took a vial of my breath and like with a spit. So for MIR, I'm going to use that in the future.
Yes,
because I think that might work.
I don't know. Maybe the nurses will help me understand that because I'm alone on the road in like Orangeburg, South Carolina. It's a little slow there. I don't know how to get anything done. And you looked like you were falling apart on me, like in the middle of a road trip. Like your eyes swelled shut, you're ashen, you smell like pee. I'm like, what's happening with you? And I had to fix you. I can't believe you shared that story.
Well, I had to get it off my chest.
You had to share it with everybody.
Right.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get like pity for you.
Yeah.
And I would never have told anybody that story.
Bree, you're sitting pretty close to me. Does my breath still smell like
now
pee?
You're all insecure. I feel terrible.
Yeah.
No, you have had a glow up.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yes, see, he did have a glow up, yes.
Yes, I've now had a glow up.
But you tell me when I have issues. Like after I had the baby, the last one, my face broke out in like weird brown spots. And you were like, you gave me the credit card and said, take care of it. Which is for you. And as soon as Scott hands anybody the credit card and says, take care of it, carte blanche, I know I'm ugly.
That was
like,
not me.
Am I ugly?
That was
carte blanche.
That was Petrol
Here's
Hanchar.
the card.
That was not me. I did not do that.
We do this for each other. Like,
Well, here we are.
It's better now, by the way, everybody.
All right. So we got to
baby
Buffalo.
Hormone issues.
We're here. My breath smells somewhat better.
Better. You're hydrated. I notice all water now, and you look a lot better. You're drinking it right now. You look a lot better. Don't misophonia the people. No, don't do it.
Misophonia.
Okay.
All right,
moving on. We have like...
Yeah. All right. So we're here. The house. Bree, let's get her take on this.
Okay. So, my parents.
So Gigi and Papa's house, very eclectic, to say the least. It's very odd. There's like thousands of clocks.
Lamps.
What else?
Yeah. Chinese artifacts.
Yeah.
Buddhist shrines.
Yep. Keep going.
Everything. Yeah. Christmas trees.
Right.
There's a Christmas tree room.
There's chairs everywhere. There's hundreds of chairs.
You sit somewhere new every day.
Right. And you got to remember, this is about a 1,200-foot house. I would say 1,200, 1,500-foot house. It's not that big.
Yeah.
But there's so many chairs. And the outside. The outside is the inside. So they take inside stuff and they put it outside in their carport.
Explain that, Brie.
Yeah.
For example, they have inside paintings nailed onto the wall outside.
Right.
Onto the siding.
Onto the vinyl, they have like, paintings.
There's a mug hanging from the tree.
There is a random mug hanging from the tree.
Casually.
Yes.
They do hang mugs from the trees.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Yes. There's a dollhouse area set up in the back. Like there's like a seating arrangement, and then behind the seating arrangement, there's actually like a seating arrangement for dolls. So there's like little small benches, and then there's a dollhouse.
Yeah, they have a creepy doll collection.
Yeah. There is just like stained glass everywhere, regular glass, like panes of glass everywhere outside.
Just hanging.
Yeah, it's very strange.
My dad has this thing like where growing up, you can turn a light on in the room, and like literally it gets maybe like slightly lighter, but like 100 lamps go on.
Right.
They're really into low wattage, but like a lot of lamps.
Right.
There's crystals hanging from all the lamps, like a lot of antiques.
Yeah.
But just like a lot. So it's hard to describe it unless you're here.
Yeah.
But like I feel like if you're going to do a study, you could take just one snapshot of any corner, and it's some sort of metaphor for what's going on in their head, and you could like really break it down, and it would be fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating.
No, this place is incredibly fascinating.
Interesting.
There's. I mean, literally, you can sift through the things all day long.
It's very homey.
Yeah,
it is very homey. There's rugs on top of rugs. They like at least 3 rugs at a time. A rug on top of a rug on top of a rug. Also, you can't have something without things hanging off of it. So you hang a clock, and then you hang like ornaments off a clock, and then ornaments off the ornaments.
Right.
So there is like a triple hang ththing going on.
Yeah. There's also many drawers, but there's no room. They're filled to capacity.
Yes.
So they have like places to because we have our suitcases and our clothes, and there's nowhere to put your stuff. You have to keep it in the suitcase because every single drawer is filled with stuff.
Drawers are filled with like linens that nobody uses,
or like
just
trinkets,
a lot of trinkets.
Yeah. So
it's just how they are.
Yeah.
I grew up this way, so I have this like I don't know, aversion to things. And I think it's just because I grew up this way. But my sister is like them. So it's just kind of like my dad says he has a fear of empty space.
Oh.
He likes to fill it. Yeah, he'll tell you that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really weird. So anyway, so I wanted to, there's nowhere to place the suitcases because you have to put them on the floor because there's things on every single shelf, cabinet, etc. So there was one...
Oh God!
There was one place to put it. Would you like a dresser?
There's like a dresser with a flat top.
Yeah, that only had one item on it.
Only one item. It was, so rare.
Yeah, it was this little cabinet, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Like
I'll just move this little tiny cabinet thing that they have on top of it, and I'll put our suitcase on there.
Oh my God!
And
shouldn't have done that.
They knew right away, like within a minute, they had known that cabinet was moved, and I put the suitcase.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess it was some sort of Buddhist shrine.
So you move it. So
I moved it.
So this is what happened. So we're all sitting in the living room, and my mom goes into her room, and she's like, what is this doing here? Because, and Scott's like, what? And she's like, did you move my Gohunzen?
God.
Yeah, now we were raised Catholic, but my mom has a Gohunzen, which is like a Buddhist shrine.
Oh.
And I guess I don't understand it. So people who are Buddhists, like, fill us in. I guess you're not allowed to move it.
I did.
And so my mom said, you're going to get the worst karma now. Like, so she says karma's coming bad for you. But the second she said that,
yes.
my little nephew threw a bag of cookies on you.
Yes,
at the same time.
Right in my lap. Yeah.
Right in your lap.
Yeah.
He literally, like, out of nowhere, he's two, popped up and just threw them at you. Cookies everywhere. All over you.
Perfect timing.
And she was real upset. She had to go take a time out to calm herself down because you moved it.
I know.
How dare you?
I wonder where it is because she didn't move it back.
No, she put it somewhere else, but I guess you did a big no-no.
All right. Well,
we'll take some pictures. It's not something you understand unless you see it, so, get ready for that.
Yeah. We'll
film you. Don't worry.
If you're still with us right here.
If you're still here.
And you haven't been shut off by the podcast ghost, because he does tend to, like...
No, I'm telling you.
Shut off people's podcasts.
I'm going to call him D. D, the podcast, this guy in the basement, does not care. Seriously, he doesn't even want to be pulled into it. He's... too cool for this, and he doesn't like to be bothered.
All right. He's hanging with Jerry Garcia.
Yeah.
All right. We have a few ads to do, and then you're going to get into it.
Thanks, Bree, for hanging out with us.
You're welcome.
On this road trip, I wanted my hair and the children's hair and even Scott's hair to still keep up its health and its shine. And Function of Beauty does not... I don't leave home without it anymore. My new favorite scent, Pear. It is like summer in a bottle. It is a beautiful, just one of their many scents that you can customize for your special shampoo and conditioner with Function of Beauty. Function of Beauty is the world leader in fully customized hair care. They create your unique formula based on a short but thorough quiz to give your hair everything it needs to look and feel its best. Every product is sulfate and paraben free, it's vegan, it's cruelty free, and there are over 60,000 real 5-star customer reviews. And Function of Beauty fans are absolutely wild about the fragrances, and for good reason. Your hair has never smelled so amazing. Try tropical mango, sweet peach, crisp pear, or subtler scents such as lavender, rose, and eucalyptus. If fragrance is not your thing, that's okay. You can get unscented too. I love when the kids all smell good and I smell good, and I'll tell you, I will never go back to regular shampoo. My hair has gotten so many compliments. It's grown, it's strong. I love to customize it in my hair goals whenever I get a new order, and it comes in such a cute box, you guys, with stickers. It's just a fun thing to get in the mail. So turn your beauty routine into an aromatherapy session, a tropical getaway even. Go to functionofbeauty.com/KYA to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. I really recommend the hair serum too. The hair serum has been really good for my dry ends. That's functionofbeauty.com/KYA to let them know you heard about it here and to get 20% off your order. That's functionofbeauty.com/KYA. What scent are you trying, Scott?
Well, we all know now that my breath smells like pee.
Stop.
But my hair smells really good. I am using the blackberry with a hint of watermelon.
Well, you have been looking really dapper lately on this trip, and I know that it's because you've been wearing some really nice new looks from Stitch Fix.
I do. I've been getting a lot of compliments on my shorts, and I'll tell you the truth. This is 100% honesty.
Yes.
In all my years on this planet, until I got Stitch Fix, I've never got a compliment on the shorts I wear.
And you got, yes, that's true.
Then I finally wear a Stitch Fix short.
Yeah.
And I get a compliment.
You did. And you did, because we went out to eat, and everyone was like, wow, you look really nice, Scott.
Yeah, it was from a toothless man from West Virginia.
That's not true.
But,
it was from normal people.
Okay.
Shopping for clothes can be daunting. You know, you never know if things will fit. Returns can be difficult. Personally, I don't like to go out anymore. Okay, I have cave syndrome, and you don't even know what store to start with. And this season, Stitch Fix does all the hard work for you. They send me the best, latest trends, new colors and new patterns to try, new designs, things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I would like that. And I do. And that's why I love Stitch Fix. They offer clothing hand selected by expert stylists for your unique size, style, and budget. It's a completely different and fun way to find clothes that you will love to wear. Every piece is chosen for your fit and your life, and it's the easy solution to finding what makes you look and feel your best. You can try on pieces at home before you buy, keep what you love, and return what you don't. Stitch Fix has free shipping, easy, like so easy, returns and exchanges, and a prepaid return envelope is always included. There is no subscription required. You can try Stitch Fix just once, or you can set up automatic deliveries, start them, stop them when you want to. You'll just pay a $20 styling fee for each box, which gets credited towards pieces you keep, and there are no hidden fees ever. So Stitch Fix has styles and clothing to fit any occasion for women, men, and kids. They ship all over the U.S., and they're available in the U.K. as well. I like to do it too if I'm going on a certain vacation or I have something to go to, or if you have an event, you can just tell your stylist and they'll send you things that mix and match and can get you through any sort of time you'll need to be fashionable. So get started today at stitchfix.com/KYA, and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix at stitchfix.com/KYA for 25% off when you keep everything in your fix at stitchfix.com/KYA. Life can be really interesting, and it's important to do those mental health check-ins. How are you really? And, you know, what do you need right now? You might not even know. You might need to talk that out with somebody. You might not know until you start talking. Well, therapy with BetterHelp can help. And what is therapy? You know, honestly, it's whatever you want it to be. It's not one set thing. You'll get some tools to help you with depression, anxiety, your temper, stress, dealing with insecurity, in relationships, at work, motivation, or just to talk, whatever you need. Maybe you don't know till you just start that relationship with your therapist. It's time to start being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you know what? You really do deserve to be happy. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. I don't. I do the phone therapy, and it's great. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So join the millions of people who are seeing what therapy is really about. See if it's for you, because you are your greatest asset. You got to treat yourself good. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Know Your Aura listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/KYA. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KYA. Yeah,
so I just, while you were doing the ads, you know, of course I was paying very close attention to them. But
yes.
The song that keeps playing in my head is Neil Young's "After the Gold Rush."
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was. I was lying in a burnt-out basement with the full moon in my eye. I was hoping for a replacement when the sun burst through the skies. There was a band playing in my head, and I felt like getting high.
Wow.
So yeah, I didn't know, and I forgot that line was in there too.
That's really cool.
But that's really weird
that
keeps coming to me. Yeah,
yeah, that's Dee's vibe. You know, he's a cool guy, and we're happy to have him.
Yeah, a lot different than our podcast goes, who likes to choke us.
Yeah, no, Dee's a cool guy.
Yeah. All right, so you're going to talk about the separation of the voices in your head.
Let's talk about that. Bob Marley said, "None but ourselves can free our minds." And that's what we're talking about today, how to free our mind and how to do that by distinguishing between the voices in our heads. There are many voices in our heads, and many spiritual teachers have spoken and have observed that it's extremely hard to differentiate. It's hard to differentiate between the ego, the higher self, just your thoughts, spirit, and loved ones on the other side. And today we're going to talk about clearing up the confusion about who's talking to you in your head. So throughout the day, so many thoughts just flow through your head. I like to think of them coming on different levels. The very top level, the most surface, the most shallow, are your daily go-to thoughts. And there are important things in here, but also the ego loves to slip in here the most. You know, you're a highly evolved spiritual being stuck in this human body. And we have brains. And our brains are wonderful things, obviously. They monitor a lot of systems. And it's something that the ego is also part of. It's part of our brain. It's the thing that keeps us alive. And sometimes it's easier to live in that shallow or 3D or very surface level of just daily thoughts and ego messages. Basically, our whole society, you watch TV, you turn on your phone, you see the ads here, you see what people talk about. It's all surface. Very few people are talking about what we're talking about on here. That's why it's so important to find like-minded individuals that you can have higher elevated conversations with about the real stuff that matters, the deeper level stuff beyond the surface stuff. Because we have this whole society that's trying to convince you that the shallow stuff isn't shallow, that you're supposed to worship material things, that your identity is about what you have, not who you are. It's constantly telling you that that's real, that the cloud and the 3D and the whole illusion of what this life is about is just that. It's an illusion, and that's not true. And that's what we're doing on here. We're trying to distinguish. We're trying to get from the 3D to the 5D. We're trying to raise our vibrations up. So how do we do that? So the first thing we have to do is we have to remember we are not our thoughts. We are the observer of our thoughts. And things just like meditation, journaling, mindfulness, which is just where you take a conscious step back, you take a pause. When you're watching something unfold or before responding at all, you ask yourself, hey, how do I feel? You understand it might take you a day or 2 or 3 to process a conversation you had with somebody. What I call, like I've mentioned many times on here, the 3-word journal. You might not know how you feel. You might have to do the mindful practice of writing down 3 times a day, 3 words of how you feel, and then deep dive under those to get closer to the real you, away from the ego and the shallow mind thoughts. These are ways to notice that stream of thoughts that are coming in so that you're able to now categorize them. So the first one, the ego. Oh, well, the ego isn't actually the fastest thought. Okay. Your spirit guides and your higher self are a lot faster than the ego. But it's the one that you have learned, and we all have learned, and we've been programmed to listen to the most. It's also the loudest voice that comes through, and the ego has trained you to push anything else away until you hear it. The ego is about being selfish, so it's like that jealous feeling or the what about me or the thing that can be triggered by programming. It's totally controlled. Your ego is totally controlled by the way you were raised. So there's just a lot of patterns in it. And like I've said, we don't do what's good for us. We do what's normal for us. So it's very normal for us. It's very comfortable for us, even if we don't like it, to recreate the ego's narrative. If you were told you were a victim in life and you took the victimized role, you'll choose things and choose thoughts that reflect that, and you'll push away the other thoughts that don't support or reflect that. That's the thing. Like when you take a step back, when you become the observer of your thoughts, you don't just look at the ones you've learned to select. You look at all of them, and then you make a conscious decision to consider all of them. Kind of like a courtroom when you're picked to be on the jury. You're not supposed to go in, with a predisposition of who's guilty or innocent. You're just supposed to take it all in. That's kind of what you have to do in your mind when the thoughts come in. You have to learn, and this is a very hard thing, and it takes time to let the thoughts flow and reteach yourself how to select the ones that are going to serve you. The ego comes in hot. It will judge others. It will judge yourself. It will tell you something cannot happen. It will be quick to say no to something you're excited about. It will usually use a lot of fear to keep you from doing things that really aren't life or death. I mean, you think about it. The ego is a wonderful thing, too. Let's say you're, do I take the stairwell with this creepy guy, or do I wait for my friend to come and walk with him through the stairwell? That's a good ego fear thought. Like, do the smart thing. But do I quit the job that I hate because everyone's mean to me, or do I stay here because I should really have a job and everyone's going to think I'm irresponsible if I don't? That's a bad ego thought. So it's kind of, the ego has a purpose. It really does, but it makes everything life or death, even the stuff that's about soul growth. So it's important to just love your ego in a way, befriend the ego. Your ego is your buddy. But it's not allowed to rule you. You're supposed to listen to it, hear it out, and listen to it when it's appropriate and know it for what it is when it's not. But it will love to jump to the worst case scenario. It loves to project failure. It's like all roads lead to how you're going to fail and ruin your life. That's what the ego does. It's really good at creating anxiety. It loves to make you feel victimized. It loves to make you, oh, they left you out. Oh, they didn't call on purpose. Oh, they think you're awful. Oh, they didn't think you did a good job. That's why they didn't praise you. It loves to jump to all those things. It loves to create a narrative around concepts that keep you limited. And it's, like I said, the loudest voice. I've gotten to the point where when my ego, and this takes work, because of course, and I think a lot of us have lived our lives ruled by the ego, and we didn't even know that was a thing. We just thought that that's just the way things are. And now you meet people who are living that way. They're scared, or they're fearful, or they're this or they're that, and you're just, oh my gosh, they're chained by their ego. So as soon as you see it, and even a little bit of work makes you freer and freer and freer. And now when my ego talks to me, listen, sometimes it wins. Sometimes it does win. That's true. I'm human. But sometimes I just laugh at it. And that's getting more and more. Okay, so your higher self or your intuitive self, what does that voice sound like? There is a difference, and I think when you're being intuitive, or you're trying to work on your psychic gifts, or your intuitive gifts, for whatever reason, for your own life or to help others, I would say I could boil it down to one sentence, and this is it. There's a difference between what you want to happen and what will happen. And that right there is the toughest thing to get over when you're building your intuition. So if you think about it, and that's your higher self, okay? Your higher self is your intuition. So your higher self is you, but it's also the part of you which is tethered always to the universe. And always, it's the part of you that understands deep in the core of yourself the purpose for your journey here. Your conscious self isn't always, I guess, understanding of what your purpose here is, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to align with that. Think of your higher self of like the older, more mature version of you, which is just patiently watching. And it watches you as you don't listen to something, or you decide that you're going to learn the hard way this time. It doesn't argue with you. It just says it. And if you dismiss it, it just says, okay, and it just hangs back. It's a quiet voice. The more you listen to it, the louder it is. And creating a relationship with, whatever you want to call it, God, I like that which is greater than us. Creating a relationship with Source will in turn require you to create a better relationship with yourself, your higher self. So basically your higher self is just the authentic version of you. And in this very 3D world, it's almost impossible to completely always live in alignment with your higher self. And that's the work here. That is the work here, like always just trying to align. And when you don't, learning from that. And when you do, really relishing in it and enjoying it and feeling grateful for it. That's what this life is. It's just kind of like bumpers on the bowling. When you get bumpers on when you're bowling and you put the bumpers up and you kind of bounce off them. It's like, ooh, okay. But when it's like straight through, it's like, oh, this is great. But yeah, like that's life. You're bumping around. But when you hit your higher self, like you know it, and it feels peaceful and it feels correct, and you want to align with it. So the feeling of your higher self voice is it just a peaceful knowing, and it's quiet. And like I said, the things that you want to happen aren't necessarily what's going to happen. And the ego loves to come in right on that angle and upset the whole thing. So, for example, like sometimes it's easier. Sometimes when you're working on your intuition, it's easier to do it through other people first. So, if you think about your best friend and you're like, okay, do I see them together in 2 years from now, my best friend and her boyfriend? Do I see myself at their wedding? Do I see myself, do I see myself walking into the house they bought together? If you and you're like, no, I just don't see it. No, like it's easier when it's not you, for the pure reason is just you're not as attached to the outcome. It's harder when you're doing it for yourself because you are attached to the outcome. And it's harder to do it for somebody that you're very invested in because you're more attached to the outcome. So like for your kids or for example, like if your mom's having like a health issue, like do I see her getting the bad diagnosis? That's hard because you don't want her to get the bad diagnosis. Little things like that. But, so my trick for you is to ask yourself questions that are related to it, but would only happen if the result was one way or the other. Okay, and I'm actually using this for my own example because when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, I would ask myself, okay, do I see myself going there for Christmas? Am I going to be there for Christmas? Am I making flight arrangements for Christmas? Am I, I would ask myself questions like that. And it was easier for me in the mundane details to know yes or no versus kind of the heavier questions like, will she live? Will she be okay? And she is okay, by the way. And she did recover. I just wanted that's my own example because I was very invested in the outcome. But with clients and whatnot, sometimes I'll do that too. Like when they want a future trajectory, and we all make our own futures, but sometimes I'll play like, all right, let's see. Do I see you in this house at Christmas time? You want to move, but you're not sure. Okay. Do I see you there at Christmas? And then it's kind of like, let's see, like it's easier to conceptualize it. So I hope that makes sense because there's things that you want to happen and then there's something that will happen. And sometimes they don't align and you have to ask yourself little questions. Do I see myself doing this? Am I packing this trip? If I went on the trip, I would have to, turn the mail off. Do I see myself turning the mail off? Little things like that can help you lead to the result. Your spirit guides. Now, I've talked about this. Episode 8 is all about this. So I don't want to get too much into it because I already did a whole podcast episode on this. But I would say the number one thing that your spirit guides or your angels will do to talk to you is synchronicities. Synchronicity is the occurrence of coincidence. When it happens so much, there has to be something more to it. And that's synchronicity. And that's the language of your angels. That's the language of your spirit guides. And it could be just odd similarities. It could just be, signs over and over again. You keep seeing a penny or you keep seeing a feather or whatnot. Also, angel numbers, which I did write a book on. It's coming out in November. I'm very excited about it because angel numbers are such a powerful way for your angels to connect with you. Because numbers are such a high frequency vibration and it's something that they can send to you often in order to try to get your attention, and they will use synchronistic ways to do it. So if you're seeing the number 10 over and over and over again to the point where it's like, okay, this is ridiculous, like that, you have to be like, okay, what does it mean? Well, what are you trying to tell me? What's going on? They just want to get your attention. The other thing with angels is the way they speak to you. I mean, when they talk to me, it comes from the right side of my head. It kind of goes in there from just how I work. It comes in from the right side. And it's like the right front part of my face. Now, other people might say different things. But notice it's all, and sometimes if you have an in-person reading with me, I'll just kind of like look up to the right all of a sudden. Because it's almost like it hits me. Like, what is this? And, so sometimes if something just literally downloads into you immediately when you're with somebody, or all of a sudden you just get hit somehow with some sort of revelation, or somebody is talking and then all of a sudden you just find yourself interrupting them and being like, who's Doug? Or something like that right there is spirit speaking to you. And it doesn't really come from within you. It comes from outside of you and kind of collides with you. And that's literally what it feels like. Somebody took a baseball of knowledge and threw it at your face, and it absorbed in you and came out your mouth. Like, what is that? Like, it's very sudden, and you can't control it. That's why sometimes during a reading, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say. And I'm sure you've all, or many of you, have had experiences where all of a sudden you say something and somebody's like, why did you say that? And you're like, I don't know. And that's just spirit just, boop, just putting it in you. Another way they can speak to you is, and here's the thing, like, I have to do because I'm like a mom and like a normal person. Always check with your doctor, but like ringing in your ears, like for real, like I've gotten, now you could say it's fluid or allergies, and yeah, it could be all that stuff too. Okay. I'm not going to like argue with anybody about that. I'm not going to argue with the green and the red people about that. Okay. It totally could be that. But I'm telling you, the more I notice it, the more it's like when I listen to the ringing in my ears and I acknowledge it, like, okay, I'm hearing you, and something significant's going on around me, or I have to pay attention, or I'm just alerted to their presence. Again, could be medical, so you always want to be careful, but I see sparkles. At times I'll see sparkles. I'll see sparkles out of the corner of my eye, and I just call them my angel sparkles. And I know it's, again, them trying to call me into attention or try to get me to notice something. And like I said, episode 8 has a whole laundry list of how your spirit guides and your angels try to constantly and consistently get in touch with you. Finally, loved ones on the other side. Loved ones you're all able to channel people who've passed. I hope you know that. It's so hard when someone you love passes, because you want them so bad. You just want them with you so bad. And so a couple things happen. One, you just miss them so bad you can't distinguish them coming in from your own just missing them. But I want you to understand something, and I just get this from doing mediumship and readings. That energy of just love and missing, and if you're going to cry, that's fine. And all that, it brings them in. Because it's an energy. The most powerful energy is love. And it really does bring them in. And sometimes just a good cry, and then just like laughing at something random you remember they said. Sometimes it's just that pure just like joy, even if it's just opposites at the same time, even like laugh crying. Man, that's them. I want you to know that. That is them. That's how they come through. Things that can block them are guilt feelings or I woulda, shoulda, coulda. That stuff can be blockages, and that's your ego. Your ego will come in when your loved ones on the other side are trying to speak to you by trying to create a narrative where you should feel bad about who knows what. Your ego's real creative at figuring that out for you, because your ego doesn't want you to connect with the other side, because it makes you, change and grow, and your ego likes you to stay still and live in your cave and do the same thing day in and day out and try to stay alive. So loved ones on the other side come through like that, and it's joy and it's good, and your ego will try to block it. So just notice that. For me too, loved ones I'm an empathic medium, and a lot of you are too. They come in emotionally. You'll feel them. All of a sudden, you'll feel a change in personality. I had a reading with somebody this week. Was it this week or last week? Recently, I had a reading with a woman, and she's like, I don't get any signs from my dad, and this and that, and I don't get dreams, and I don't do anything. And I'm like, yeah, but he's coming through that his very strong personality, which I was feeling during the reading, is coming through you. And I told her that. And I feel like you want to lecture your mother, and you want to lecture your brothers, and it's him. He's telling you to tell them to like clean up their act and do this and pay bills better and do like, and all the things that he was a very red dad, red aura, in charge, leadership, very head honcho guy was, and that's not her, but that was him. And she said, that's so weird. I never would have made that connection. And she said her husband had even commented a few days ago that she was acting like, not like herself when it came to trying to lecture her mom and her brothers about things. And she was getting kind of like all anxious and bossy about it. And that how it wasn't like her at all. And I'm like, that's your dad. loved ones on the other side can make you act a certain way. Like, they can channel through you and make you start acting a certain way. Another thing is, if you think of somebody, like, randomly, notice it. Here's a habit for you. Because this is how loved ones on the other side speak too. And this is how they'll kind of enter your thoughts. Let's say you're just, I don't know, doing dishes. And all of a sudden you're like, I don't know, Aunt Sue. Okay. Take a moment. Was I doing anything to think of Aunt Sue? Did I look out the window and see something that reminded me of her? Am I washing her dishes? Am I wearing a piece of her? If all of it's no, and it truly was just a random, just dropped in your brain moment, that's Aunt Sue. So get in the habit of following your thoughts backwards. When you think of something like that, be like, was anything around me, or did anything stimulate me to think of them from an external place? And if the answer is no, it's them. Just kind of randomly like, hey, just drop it in. So that's another way that that voice can kind of show up in your head from somebody else. This is just like a quick rundown. I think the number one thing I wanted to clarify was we have so many voices going through our head, and it can be like a cyclone. And sometimes more than others, it's easier to separate them. That's true. Sometimes life is less chaotic than other times. So when those times come, when life's a little less chaotic, maybe even, I say boring, that's a good time to get your meditations out and get your journaling on top of it, and make sure you're extra mindful and do the 3-word journal, so that when the times things aren't so calm, you have these tools and these muscles, because what it really is a muscle, these muscles strengthened that you can differentiate between the ego, your own just brain thoughts, spirit guides, your higher self, and loved ones on the other side. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
So what do you think? Do you think you're less held back by your ego voice and you can hear your spirit guides a little better now?
Well, just like I can't picture anything in my mind, I don't have any voices either.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, kind of, but not. I don't think I really can.
So
I'm not sure.
What I noticed in you, because I'll try to just say this to like somebody who doesn't like want to admit spirit guides are talking to them or whatever. Like,
yeah.
How about this? Like, when because I've known you so long, I feel like lately, or more recently in the last few years, you're less controlled by your own fear than you used to be. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So, like, you're less controlled by, like, and logic, too, like the way things should be done, or I feel like you're less controlled by that as well.
I believe so.
And I think that's your ego.
Okay.
Like, and not that logic's a bad thing. I mean, like, logic that kind of kept you in a loop. Like, we can't go to this place unless, we have this coupon, or, like, we can't do this unless we do this. Like, little things like that was more programming or structured or rigid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does. I mean, for me, it's still hard to do. I mean, I'm sure other people can differentiate the voices much easier than I can. I mean, me and Phoebe are still fighting. So.
Oh, Phoebe, your spirit guide, yes.
Yeah. If you don't know, Phoebe is my spirit guide.
Spirit guide, yes.
We got into a huge war when, she told me to buy American Express stock instead of Amazon stock. Of course, if I bought the Amazon stock, then I wouldn't be here doing this podcast right now, because I would be on a mega yacht somewhere in the South Pacific. So actually,
aren't you happier here in the haunted basement? Doing this podcast.
Exactly. with the spiders.
I think you are, though.
That's Well, right now I can't. It's hard to concentrate because there's a spider crawling up my leg.
Yeah, this is a real issue.
Yeah, and there is some strange banging coming from the basement somewhere.
So we wanted to talk about Britney Spears.
Yes, we wanted pink auras.
Yeah. I've been noticing, just how pink auras are. I've talked about it. Somebody told me that in the kids episode, I did the best description of what pinks are and whatnot. So pink aura people tend to be very much in ownership of their own vision, very much in a childlike, or sometimes others would perceive a naive state, and they can get really persecuted for it. They see the world kind of a little more sparkly, or a little more childlike, a little bit open, less constrained. They do get stubborn about how they want things done or whatever. And I've noticed with pink women, they're extremely feminine. They tend to really embrace what we would stereotypically call feminine things. And some, pink aura people would be like Marilyn Monroe, for example, Paris Hilton, and Britney Spears.
And myself.
Is pink.
I feel I'm a pink aura.
You really identify with that.
Well, I mean, there was a time I wanted Prince Charming to sweep me off my feet, and
Right.
I lived in a castle on a cloud, and things like that.
I think like when you think about your a little 3-year-old self, we all like had that pink kind of attitude a little bit, and society really attacks it. And the people that tend to keep the pink are the ones that get used and abused. We love to look at them, and then what happens is the people in power use them all up and then discard them. If you see like what happened to Marilyn Monroe, that happened to her. If you see, for example, with Britney Spears right now, she's in the news. I'm sure you've heard about her coming out very honest, very vulnerable, saying that she's in this conservatorship and she doesn't want to be. And it's sad because we all were attracted to her because of her joyfulness, because of, and it doesn't mean pinks aren't hardworking. They're very hardworking. She's a very hardworking person and made to look a certain way, like not able to handle things or not able to think for themselves. This is very pink aura kind of stereotypes that people don't even know they're doing because nobody knows what a pink aura is. But her speaking out like this is fascinating to me because she's actually saying it. She's and you can tell too, like she was ashamed. I had to pretend to be okay. She was ashamed even of not being okay, of not living that fairy tale and showing us that fairy tale. And it's amazing that she's like admitting it. And I feel like that's how she's going to get her power back. I mean, I think we're all just really touched by this. And I wanted to talk about Cardi B.
Okay.
Because Cardi B, now Scott, the WAP song. Yes, you know that song.
I know of it. I haven't listened to it. I think it's horrible.
Right.
I don't think it should be a song.
Right.
But there's other songs I don't think should be songs either. Like Billie Eilish should not. Her music's terrible too. But
you have an issue
I'm
with
going
her.
to go to just a quick red rant here.
Okay.
Billie Eilish, you guys introduced me to her music.
I love her music.
And
I do.
Okay, I had the dial on the radio on like the highest level it can go.
Yeah.
And I could not hear a word she was saying.
I know what you mean.
She's like whispering. It's like, hello.
Yeah, it's a lot of...
I love you. I hate you. Like, it's
she's
so
like very low.
I don't... Like, she could have been singing about anything.
When you go on a red rant about Billie Eilish, I get what you're saying.
Okay. So
it feels like a low effort that she's putting into it. I know what you mean.
Like, was like the mic, like speaker not on in the studio when it recorded?
She's a vibe. But Cardi B, the WAP song,
sorry about that.
I think you can at least say it's catchy.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I did not get past like the second line.
I know. So the WAP song, even if we're like, and I'm not saying is this a good song or not. I am not saying that. I'm just saying that like what Cardi B is trying to do, and this is what I see. I see a pink aura woman who sees very plainly because of her life and the way she was a stripper and she kind of understands, sees very plainly what people are going to take advantage of, and she just gets there first. And in doing that, she's like, and now I will own it because I'm not going to have you, when I say you, kind of like these powers that be or these people on top or society, the man in general or whatever. I get this feeling from her. She's like, I'm going to put it all out there. This is me, and it's feminine, and it's 100%, and it's anything that you're already thinking you want to do behind closed doors. I'm going to own it first. I'm going to say it first. And it's out there. And now what can you control her with? Now what can you do? You see what happened to Paris Hilton, another pink aura. If you watch the documentary, it was absolutely awful. That sex tape that came out, she didn't know that she was a victim. Like, she did not know that was coming out. How horrific. And she's the one that got all the persecution, and she really didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't want any of that. It's kind of like Cardi B almost like saw it for what it is, and is just like, all right, I'll get there first. I'll own that before you do. And I feel like that song is kind of like an expression of that, and a lot of her artwork tends to be an expression of that.
Okay.
I just get on my pink aura bandwagon with that.
Well, let me ask you a question about these people. And I don't know if you know these right off the top of your head or not. Let me ask you the secondary colors of all these people.
Okay.
And then I want to just see if there's some sort of correlation that we can figure out.
Okay.
So Britney Spears is pink and...
Purple.
She's pink and purple.
And I feel like she did have, and here's the thing, we all have mental issues, okay? And, what happened to her, and I was explaining this to you the other day, like this whole conservatorship, that doesn't happen to people. It's absolutely sick what happened to her.
I understand that.
I don't care how screwed up your life got, like nobody has the right to take it away from you. And they did that. How? It's awful.
All right.
But yes, purple.
Okay,
so I
she's
can see
pink
her
purple.
being a little bit, her methods and her way of expressing herself was probably a little bit purple. And then she's also pink. So she can, and then, she claims they put her on drugs and stuff like that. Yeah, she could totally, probably wasn't hard to make her look like she had no facilities. It probably wasn't that hard. Anna Nicole Smith is another pink aura. Okay. She's pink and purple and yellow too.
Tricolor.
Again, probably wasn't that hard to make her look like she couldn't handle herself. Right. And she did have some self-destructive issues and whatnot. Marilyn Monroe.
What was Marilyn Monroe?
She was pink and purple.
Pink and purple again?
Yeah.
Cardi B.
Cardi B is pink and purple.
Pink and purple.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, did we mention Paris Hilton?
And Paris Hilton's pink and yellow.
She's pink and yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she come off as
what did
more...
I say Cardi B was?
You said Cardi B was pink and purple.
Yeah. And she's like extremely...
Does she have any red in there?
No, but pink people can have red traits because they can be very stubborn, and you will see them often in business. They will own their own kind of like situations. They cannot work for other people. They aren't so much of a leader. They're more of a role model-ish type instead of a leader.
Because the Britney Spears, I can definitely see the purple, pink.
Yeah.
The Marilyn Monroe, purple, pink. And then Cardi B to me, even though I don't know her that well, obviously.
She's got a little yellow in there, too.
I saw another little color in there.
Yeah, she's like pink with the purple. And that's hard. It's hard sometimes to separate the purple from the pink because sometimes like they'll bring on the purple as kind of like a coping mechanism for society because people understand purples more than they understand pinks in society.
Right.
But she does have kind of an organized way about her, and that's Cardi B's yellow, too.
Okay. And then I think you mentioned earlier, not today, but other days, Kim Kardashian is a pink.
She's pink.
She's a pink.
And so honestly on her, I usually just see mostly pink.
Just pink.
Yeah,
Like
it's
pure
hard.
pink.
It's hard to see other colors on her. Sometimes
Wow.
like a white, which I never really see.
Yeah.
Yeah, she feels very washed out to me too, Kim Kardashian. So I
Yeah.
get kind of just like very influenced by the people around her, like a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And pink, would you say is a fairly rare aura color?
Not in kids.
Okay.
And the Kids Aura episode, I talked about this too. Now I'm starting to see it in adults. But like when I look at old pictures, not that there's like a ton of them to look at, I never see like, from the 50s or the 40s or the 30s or the 20s, I never see pink people who are adults and barely as children. Now at least I see a lot of pink kids. And then sometimes I will see pink celebrities or pink people in my readings or whatnot. So at least it's like society. For me, it's like my barometer of, okay, we're getting a little bit more understanding towards people than we used to be. But yeah, Cardi B, she's got the pink purple kind of thing going on with the yellow, with her business side. I should really do a post about her because she really does inspire me. Although it's for some reason like it's controversial, I think because of some of the music and her ways that she puts it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. All right. I mean, this is really interesting. So it seems like there's a lot. There could be more pink people in the world, but they've just kind of been suppressed over the years.
It's dangerous to be pink.
It's dangerous.
And I feel like as parents, when we see our kids being pink, we're scared.
Yeah.
For real. Even if you don't know that's what you're scared of, that's what you're scared of. Because a lot of these, like, look what happened to Britney Spears.
Yeah.
I mean, she was absolutely controlled by her family and put into this thing, and they just wanted her to be the workhorse. And she said everyone's making money off this conservatorship, and she can't even, do what she wants. So that can happen. And I say too, like pinks end up being like birds in a gilded cage. Like you want to stick them in a cage, you want to look at how beautiful they are, but you don't want them to be free. Something about pinks and freedom freaks society out.
It freaks people out.
It freaks society out. So I think that Britney coming forward and speaking to this. I mean, I know all of us are just feeling horrified for what she's been through.
Wow. All right. Well, that's very interesting. We do have the Miss Michaela Spiritual Family on Facebook. We do have some pinks in there.
We do.
They seem to flock together like birds.
They do.
They flock together like birds.
Yes. I love pinks.
They
don't care. You know what I mean? They're kind of like chill.
Yeah.
You know?
It must be one of those colors when you find out that you're a pink, it explains everything.
Yes.
For these people, for these people like maybe that have struggled for all these years, and like you said, not being wanted to put in a cage or being put in a cage to be watched.
Yeah, you get maneuvered, manipulated.
Yeah, and then you find out you're a pink. It must be so like cathartic for you.
And people want to keep you like a pet.
Yeah,
people do. They want to keep you like an exotic bird.
Yeah,
they want to see you, but they don't want to let you do what you want to do.
Right.
That freaks them out because they know they can't own you.
Right,
and they know they can't own you.
And that's interesting because the people that, again, most of the people that you mentioned today, that's how people treat them.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that you say,
if you think about
it all just
Paris,
for me.
it's like she's an exotic animal.
Yeah,
or something.
Or Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. Like she's a human person, but she was treated like some sort of pet that people didn't want. So, if just think about if you had some sort of exotic bird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like too many people saw it. People attach their egos to these people.
Yeah.
And then these people want to go off and do their own thing, and and the people whose ego have attached to them, they get threatened.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and that actually the light bulb just clicked for me on the pink aura just now, while we were doing this. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I am now fully immersed in spider webs. They are wrapping me up as we speak. We actually have one spider making words.
Oh.
Yeah. I see magnificent.
Oh, my gosh.
And now he's actually starting to do the different aura colors, and there's a pig underneath him for some reason.
God.
I don't know where that pig came from.
It's a fabulous
Maybe
thing.
2 people will get the reference to Charlotte's Web. Probably not.
You spelled it out.
Yeah,
for those.
I did.
It's never good when you spell it out.
No, then you know the joke's bad.
Yeah.
All right. We got to get out of here. Our podcast ghost is knocking. Our other guy that we call D wants to smoke a joint with us. So
yeah, we got to go do that.
We got to go do that.
So this podcast is for you and about you. And thank you all for all you do. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy podcast on your podcast app.